In today's video, I'll show you how to set up your Symfony project if you use Messenger component, and also how to use this component. And let's start from understanding what Messenger is needed for. There may be some processes in your application that require long processing. They take a long time to complete. Instead of waiting for your application to complete these processes, they can go to queue and be processed in background asynchronously. And in the same time, the rest of your code is running. Therefore, you can hand the application back to the users so that they continue their work with it. So, Messenger gives the opportunities to horizontally scale, and also you can make the application work really stable. Let's move on and set up new Symfony project. As usual, to start new Symfony project, we need 4 files. First, Dockerfile. Second, docker-compose.yaml file. Third, engine.conf file. And fourth, xdebug.ini file. In order not to waste time typing, I'll copy the contents of these files from my own templates. I'll leave a link to the configuration files on the GitHub in the description under the video. So, let's go. I'll briefly describe what we have installed here in the Dockerfile. Here, we use multi-stage Dockerfile to compile AMQP extension for PHP 8.1.0. AMQP is Advanced Message Queuing Protocol. The basic idea is that individual subsystems or independent applications can exchange messages arbitrarily through an AMQP broker that handles message routing. Here we install the package list. Here the code is commented out because we don't need Redis yet. Here we install PDO, its PHP data object, and also we install PDO _PG SQL, its driver that implements the PDO interface to enable access from PHP to PostgreSQL databases. Here we install Xdebug. Here we install PCOV. It's a self-contained code coverage compatible driver for PHP. Here we install command line interface. Here we install Composer. And here we run Supervisor. It's a client-server system that allows its users to monitor and control a number of processes on Unix-like operating systems. So, it is needed for managing multiple processes in our container. It's our working directory, and as for max children setting, it limits the maximum number of simultaneously executing PHP requests an app is allowed to have. This limit provides a safeguard against slow and buggy PHP scripts causing your server to run out of memory. It is called max children because a separate PHP child process is required for each concurrently executing PHP requests. Here we install opcache. It improves PHP performance by storing precompiled script bytecode in shared memory, thereby removing the need for PHP to load and parse scripts on each request. And here we start PHP FPM. Let's move on to the docker-compose.yaml file. Here it. And get know a little about RabbitMQ service. Here it. So, first we add RabbitMQ service. Then we set the container name. Here we pull the image with the tag management because we want to access the RabbitMQ management UI that will enable to us to manage RabbitMQ queues, channels queues, and exchange. Here we add RabbitMQ container environments. We are setting the RabbitMQ username and password that we'll use to log in and access to the RabbitMQ management UI. I leave default values for the username and password. And here we define the container ports that will run on Docker and expose the container externally. This port will expose its container so that we can access it over a browser. If you want to take a closer look at the docker-compose.yaml file and other configuration files that I created earlier, then follow the link to the video in the upper right corner that will now appear. We move on and let's install the Messenger component. Messenger gives you ability to send messages using Messenger bus and handle them immediately, or your application can send messages through transports to be handled later. A transport will be responsible for communicating with your Messenger broker. So, we need to configure it. Let's open .env file. Here it. And here you need to find examples of transport. Here it. Now simply uncomment the transport you need and change if it's needed. Next, let's find messenger.yaml file in config packages folder. Okay. There we'll define a transport called async that uses the next configuration. So, now we are ready to try Messenger in action. First we need to do is create a message class that holds data. And then we need to create handler class that will be called when that message is dispatched. The handler class will read the message class and perform some tasks. Symfony documentation recommends to add as messenger handler attribute above the handler class. It's look like that. But if we implement Messenger handler interface, we don't need to do this. Thanks to after configuration, Symfony will perform all the necessary configuration for you. Also, Symfony recommends add an invoke method that type hinted with the message. Let's create controller and action inside it to dispatch the message and call the handler. Now let's log in the RabbitMQ management UI. Once your messages have been routed, you'll need to consume them using command. As you can see, messages are queued and then processed asynchronously. Also, we can dispatch messages from the handler. I'll show it. Also, we can dispatch messages from the terminal command. Let's try it. And for today it's all. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this video and see you next time.